Do you want to hear the story of an 85-year-old executor who was supposed to probate the will of a deceased friend, and he almost lost the apartment because he didn't know what to do? Well, I'm going to tell you about it right now. This is a true story. Hi, I'm Varvara Gokea, the founder of the Inheritance Lawyer, and we created the Inheritance Audit Meeting because we want to help people protect themselves, their loved ones, their assets before it's too late. This story started when I met an 85-year-old gentleman who was nominated as the executor of a friend's last will and testament. The executor is the person who is supposed to satisfy the wishes of the deceased person expressed in the written will. Did I mention that the executor of this will was 85 years old? The biggest asset left by the deceased was an apartment in Queens, New York, in the value of $350,000. The deceased also owned a bank account with $65,000 in it. The executor was Mr. Smith, not real name, 85 years old, and the beneficiaries were all in South America. So after the passing of his friend, the executor waited a few months. It was winter in New York and he was 85 years old. When he came to our office, he hired us to represent him and the estate. However, the executor, by the time he came to our office, he has not paid the maintenance fees for this apartment. He thought since nobody lived in the apartment, he was not responsible to pay these maintenance fees. And the apartment was in a co-op building in Queens, New York. When the executor hired us, we right away started a proceeding in surrogate court to validate the validity of the will. It's called probate. But before we were able to secure any judgment on the probate proceedings, the executor was hit with an eviction notice. The board of directors of that building were trying to evict him for not paying the maintenance fees. When the executor informed us about the eviction notice, of course, we appeared in court on his behalf a few times. Not only that we appeared in court, but we also paid the fees, the maintenance fees and the attorney's fees on his behalf. When we settled the eviction proceedings, we were able to go ahead and wait for another 6-7 months. So in total, the probate court took about 8 months to issue testamentary letters that gave the executor the right to enter the apartment and to start preparing the apartment to be sold. The apartment was sold 4 or 5 months later, so in total it took about 16 to 18 months to sell the apartment, to clean it, before we sold it, and it took about $20,000 that the executor was responsible to pay, which he didn't have. The point of this story is that all this could have been avoided if this apartment would have been placed in a trust. We didn't have to go to court, we didn't have to file the will with the court, we didn't have to wait for anybody to approve. So the executor would have been allowed immediately to enter the apartment, immediately to start cleaning up, and immediately to list it for sale. You can clearly see from this example how important it is to do an estate plan, a comprehensive estate plan, and protect your loved ones from all these headaches. From the story above, the executor would have avoided 16 months of unnecessary paying maintenance fees at about $1,000 a month, so $16,000, court fees, eviction fees. So probably the executor spent more than $30,000 unnecessarily because the apartment was transferred through the will and not through a trust. The reason I tell this story to many of my clients is to understand what happens if you don't do the proper planning of your estate. And proper planning always proves to be the best way to go. This is why we created the Inheritance Audit Meeting, to make sure that people have all the right documents respective to their situation. The Inheritance Audit Meeting, it's a free of charge 15 to 30 minute meeting with one of our associates, and you will know exactly what you need to put in place, and if you need anything, maybe you have everything in place. So give us a call and we will guide you through the Inheritance Audit Meeting. I'm Varvara Gokea, the founder of the Inheritance Lawyer, and I'm encouraging you to schedule your inheritance audit meeting now.